I decided to finish the small window I'd started first. It was getting cold, but winter wasn't there yet. I decided to put in shutters instead of normal glass. And the reason why is actually because I simply didn't have access to glass. With everything going on and all of the projects that we've been working on that summer, sourcing a glass window was just a little bit too much for me. I did have access to wood, so I decided to just put in wood shutters. Because it's going to be a toilet, I could just keep the windows open during summer, and during winter I could shut them. If it's not airtight enough, then it's always something that I can change later on. I didn't do a perfect job, but I managed to recess the ironmongery, and to be honest, it's still not finished. There's a small gap in between the shutters and it needs weatherproofing all around, but I had a lot of other small jobs to do as well, so I decided to focus on those instead. can probably tell that we tried to demolish this and failed. It's not falling apart though. This thing is stuck. It's stuck. It's not going anywhere. I painted this white. It just needed a coat of something. You know, you can see the different types of white going on here, so it's not very pretty, but I'm thinking next summer I'm going to paint everything green, maybe, and fix these. Turn it into a really cute little porch with planters and flowers and maybe one of those plants that go up the side of the house. When I did these windows, I wanted to do something a little bit different from the big wide moldings that you see in all the Swedish houses. So I did a little bit more of a modern design, but the rest is still the same as the others, so it still has its original feel to it. Yeah, all the other windows are very typical Swedish designs, like this. Obviously, that's a bad window. That needs fixing. I also did this thing with the slats where I actually angled them at the top because these slats stuck out more than this window frame and I wanted it to be flush. So I went through a lot of effort to cut this at an angle at the top so it looks a bit nicer. It's a bit messy still though. But I think once everything is painted, it will be a lot nicer. There's a lot of mixture of old wood and new wood here. So this is definitely a work in progress, but it doesn't have to be perfect, it can be a bit rustic. I also really hated this stain colour when I first put it. There wasn't that much choice. I'm getting used to it. I think I might like it now. After the summer, one of the most important things for me was to receive all of the words that I would need to continue building throughout the winter. Because I don't have a car, I needed to order everything and delivery costs are really high. So I did one bulk order, but to be able to know what I needed to buy, I pretty much had to design the entire house, calculate the quantities of all of the materials, and then see how much it would cost. And I didn't actually have that amount of money, so then I needed to figure out what I could afford. So I ended up buying all of the materials to make the water pump house and to pretty much do all of the kitchen and some of the small room adjoining the kitchen. I received 3 large pallets of wood and all sorts of other construction materials, and I spent hours trying to get everything inside the house. I decided to place everything in the living room, which I'm not using to live in right now, but the lengths were so long that I needed to keep the doors into the living room open so they could fit. Actually, the woods for the flooring and the walls was so long. I think it was something like 5 meters. It didn't even fit. I had no space for it. So it was actually outside for a couple of weeks. And it was raining a lot. I really started to worry about it molding. It took quite a while for me to have time to cut it up. I calculated the sizes that I would need for the different rooms and cut everything outside, and then put it partly in the living room and the other part I put in the guest room. For anyone curious, they did cut these woods after summer. There's pros and cons to this. Obviously, I loved having the trees, but the positive is that I have so much more sunlight